Hello everybody, my name is Gilles Gagnard. I'm an architect at Amadeus, and today I'm also with Xavier Rousselot, who is also an architect. Today we are here to tell you a story about our long-lasting partnership with Couchbase, and in particular how it helped us deliver innovative merchandising solutions to our airline customers at a truly massive scale. Through this partnership, we've successfully leveraged and integrated some breathtaking technologies from Couchbase into our core products. To illustrate this, I will first focus on how we have used Couchbase for both documents and events to power our massive cloud-based Amadeus shopping and merchandising applications. Then, in a second time, Xavier will deep dive on how we have taken advantage of the advanced queries and indexing capabilities of Couchbase to power our customer experience management products. First thing first, some words about Amadeus. You may have not heard that name before because we mainly operate in the B2B space, business to business, but Amadeus is actually a leading technology company dedicated to the world's travel industry. Our mission is to offer cutting-edge solutions that help key players in the travel industry to succeed in their business and shape the future of travel moving forward. In 2018 alone, we processed more than 640 million bookings and helped boarding more than 1.8 billion passengers. So this tells you a lot about our truly global scale. When we design solutions, we not only have our customers' needs in mind, but their customer needs too. Meaning you all, as well as us as a person, because we are all travelers, okay? And this is a full cycle from the first moment when you're looking for inspiration and some trip possibilities, through to shopping when you actually looking for an actual trip, and booking and pre-trip, on-trip, and post-trip. Okay, it's really a full cycle. Today, we will focus more particularly on how Couchbase has become a key technology at the heart of our inspiration and shopping solutions in products such as search and shopping, merchandising, and customer experience management. So, our shared history together with Couchbase began several years ago, back in 2013, when we began prototyping with Couchbase, first as a humble key value store. Okay. We were so impressed with its performances and capabilities that in the end of 2013, we entered in a partnership agreement. From 2014 to 2016, we've deployed Couchbase in production as a document store of choice for features supporting our airline and hotel shopping and booking products, as well as our airline inventory. Starting from 2016, we began our journey to the cloud, both private and public, beginning with our airline cloud availability product. Again, Couchbase has served us well in this area and has been of great help to achieve our goals, culminating with a Couchbase Red Hat Amadeus partnership to integrate better Couchbase with Red Hat OpenShift, our platform as a service of choice to support our cloud strategy. Closer to present days, in 2019, we continued our journey with our transition to Prometheus as our Couchbase monitoring solution, unifying it with the rest of our stack, and also the introduction of ephemeral buckets for caching use cases. So, actually, as I said before, we are partners. Okay, this means that more than a traditional customer relationship, we are engaged in a very active collaboration. Through the years, we have worked together on a whole series of topics, exchanging ideas, change and improvement proposals, collaborating on specifications and design of new features. For instance, we have actively collaborated on enterprise-grade features such as role-based access control, auditing and security, backup capabilities, but also on performance and reliability improvements linked to our very demanding environments. Rebalance performances, operability of global secondary index, ephemeral buckets, NIQL queries and indexing. And also, of course, the cloud with the Couchbase Kubernetes operator for better integration with our OpenShift path, or the Kafka connector, which we'll see more in details in a few minutes. Now let's jump head-on onto our first topic, how Couchbase helps us in the shopping and merchandising space. First, what happens behind the scene when a traveler is shopping for a trip? Building a travel offer begins with the traveler's request, okay? An origin, a destination, maybe a date. Sometimes it's very specific. I want to go at that exact time for this exact airport and I want exactly this level of service. Sometimes it's very vague because the traveler is actually looking for inspiration. Here in this example, okay, I'm looking for a trip, round trip from Nice to New York. So first, we build travel solutions, okay? All the possible ways to fulfill the request with a combination of actual flights, including connections. So here in this example, one out of a multitude of possible solutions is to fly with the airline X for Zurich for my outbound flight and come back through London by combining airlines Y and Z, okay? Then those travel solutions are priced and we find the very best valid fair combination for those travel solutions, giving the traveler the best price point for every possible product families. Finally, merchandising techniques are applied. This means the results are tailored specifically for the traveler and the context of the request. For instance, proposing additional useful services, applying relevant ongoing marketing and retailing campaigns, with the goal for the traveler to get a better personalized experience, suiting his needs, and also for the airline to improve its sales. To summarize, shopping and merchandising is all about finding the best combination of fares and flights with the right services for the right traveler. So now you may wonder, where does Couchbase fit in this picture? In a nutshell, it plays a role in all our shopping applications. We use it as a document store to crawl our flight schedules, the flight schedules network, okay, to find the best possible solutions, for checking which products are available in real time, combing through all valid fare rules to compute the best prices, and also to power our merchandising and personalization engine. And the scale of our search traffic is truly massive. Okay, we have an estimate of 2 million documents just for flight schedules alone, but it goes up to 1 billion documents for fare rules and up to 100 billion documents for flight availability. At peak time, we have accumulated 20 million operations per second happening on our fleet of Couchbase clusters. In order to achieve this kind of scale, cloud-based deployments are a must. The deployment strategy of our footprint is completely hybrid. It is a mix of private cloud hosted in our own data center and a number of regions in various public clouds. It is important to us to have cloud-agnostic solutions to support our deployments. And Couchbase has proven to be a strong asset in this field. For instance, cross data center replication, also known as XDCR, is a great enabler for globally distributed footprints. We have used it to project all the data we need in real time from our private cloud running in our own data center to a number of satellite regions in public cloud in America, Europe, Asia. From an operations point of view, we have standardized on OpenShift and the Kubernetes ecosystem as our applicative platform of choice on the cloud. In this regard, the Couchbase Kubernetes operator is a great way to deploy and operate a fleet of Couchbase clusters in a unified way, together with our applicative workloads running on the very same platform, whatever the cloud and the geographical location. Thanks to the Prometheus exporter, we also have unified monitoring and alerting to make the life of our SRE easier. Okay, so I mentioned earlier that we use Couchbase as document store. Actually, that was true at the beginning, but nowadays we are going far beyond the humble document store. To conclude this overview of Couchbase in Amadeus Shopping and Merchandising, let me zoom in on a recent evolution of our usage of Couchbase. There is a popular saying, there are only two hard things in computer science, cache invalidation and naming things. Okay, so let's start with the bad news. Couchbase won't help you to name things. But for cache invalidations, the combination of Couchbase and Kafka message broker enables us to use document mutations as an event source. Through a combination of filtering and light data transformation, we have been publishing database changes to consumers using those events to invalidate local caches through the well-known Kafka message broker. So of course, you're not limited to this specific use case. Analytics, business intelligence come to mind and would also be good use cases for this kind of pattern. So enter Kafka Couchbase Connector. This is the key technology behind this mutations as event source thing. Basically, whenever a Couchbase client updates documents, the document mutation is pushed to the Kafka Couchbase Source Connector, which is really an internal component of the Couchbase deployment. Actually, it's an extensible framework, so it's possible to implement some filtering and data or metadata-based transformations inside the framework, so that only relevant events are published. Then the connector publishes the events to the Kafka broker. Consumers then consume the mutations events as they see fit. But it doesn't stop there. Remember when I was explaining how cross-data center replication was an enabler for globally distributed deployments? Well, it is entirely possible to combine cross-data center replication with the Kafka connector to achieve global event propagation. A mutation happening in first region, let's say in Europe, is replicating to region B, say in America, through cross-data center replication. And then locally, in the America region, an event is published to all the consumers in that region through the Kafka broker. So a good way to combine both. To conclude, here are some personal return on experience on this particular way to combine documents and events. First, return on experience. It's really useful for applications which are mostly document-based, but with a side of events. Okay. Second, return on experience. If your data is already globally replicated, then it's good news because then replicating events comes for free. Last thing to finish, a warning. You have to keep in mind that sequences and partitioning are not preserved because the event source and the replication mechanism itself has no order guarantee. If ordering guarantees are needed, there is always the possibility to make sure your documents are internally sequenced, for instance, by embedding an atomic version number in your documents. Okay, thank you everybody for your attention. I now leave the floor to Xavier for a deep dive on Nickel, the advanced query and indexing engine in Couchbase.
Thank you, Gilles. So indeed, I'm also an architect, as Gilles said before, also in Amadeus, but I'm in charge of a slightly different application from what Gilles presented before, although it kind of complements the things that Gilles presented. So what are we supposed to do in my application? In fact, we are helping the airlines to know their travelers better, because it's quite complicated for airlines to know who is flying on them. So what does it mean? Basically, for an airline, here is a business traveler going, for instance, to Germany today. And the big problem that the airline would like to answer is this person the same one as this woman who traveled maybe to Switzerland 1 month ago? And it's really a key problem for airlines, like for any retail in the world, actually, to know your traveler in order to be able to personalize your offers, your prices, and also to better service the customers. For instance, if the person was a vegetarian 1 month ago, they are probably still a vegetarian and they might want to have a vegetarian meal this time again. So in order to be able to better service and offer things to their customers, it's very important to be able to recognize them. And it's a very difficult problem, especially for airlines, even more than in the standard retail world, because in airlines, the reservations can come from lots of different places. In fact, the airlines are not the only touch point where bookings are made. And this is really important in the airline retail, and it's part of the complexity of what Gilles explained before. So typically, when you want to book a flight, you might go to the website of the airline and book a flight there. But you might also go to a travel agency and ask a travel agent to book for you. Or it might go through the travel management company of your company. Or you might even go in the airport directly and ask to buy a flight to the check-in agents. So you have lots of different ways to book, and across these different touch points, in fact, there is no way for the airline to easily recognize the travelers. So in fact, what the airline receives in the end is a record, which is still textual actually, that contains lots of various information, which is not really structured very well, which is not formalized or standardized too well. So the name might be the same or not from one time to the next. For instance, if you have transliteration issues, because someone is coming from the Middle East or from Asia, when you transliterate their names into the Latin alphabet, it might result in different things. So from one time to the next, people might have different names. They might have different phone numbers, different emails. There might be typos. Everything is unsure, in fact, in the records. So this is why it's really a hard problem for airlines to recognize their passengers. So what they invented in the 80s, actually it was American Airlines who invented it, and it was quite smart. It's the frequent flyer system. So in fact, with the frequent flyer, the airlines motivate their passengers to identify themselves whenever they book, wherever they book. So when you have a frequent flyer ID, you can give it to a travel agency or to the airline desk or to the airline website. And in all cases, you are able to put your identification, your personal identification inside the record. And from that point on, the airline is really able to recognize you and service you correctly. Unfortunately, this has a few issues. The first one is that it's very hard to remember your frequent flyer, and you might have several actually, because usually you have one for Air France, one for Lufthansa, one for American Airlines, or any other airline you have flown on before, or even if you have not flown on an airline, you might have a frequent flyer ID, by the way. So it's usually very hard to remember, and if you are like me, usually you forget your frequent flyer number and you don't mess trying to find it in your smartphone or in your history of emails in order to be able to give it at the time of reservation. So in the end, the airline doesn't get it. And also, it implies to give redemptions to the people in order to motivate them to give their frequent flyer ID. And this means that the airline has to pay some perks some advantages to give away some free services or free flights to the people, which in the end is a bit costly for the airlines. So all in all, it's a very smart system, but it's not perfect. And nowadays, since we are in the 21st century, not anymore in the 80s, we can think of maybe leveraging artificial intelligence in order to recognize people across those reservations. And this is what my product is trying to do. So it's called Customer Experience Management, because the goal is really for the airlines to be able to better service their customer and provide a better experience on board. So for you, for me, for everybody. So what we do in my application is receive feeds from everywhere in the airline world as much as possible in order to have as much data as we can about the travelers. So it can come from lots of different sources. And we have some algorithms that try to recognize people, even in unstructured data, given all the complexity I said before, that people can have several phones, several emails, several names. We try to find some matches in our database in order to identify the people. And once we have succeeded this, we compute some metrics, segmentation on the people. And this is some high-value information, such as whether the traveler got a disruption recently. So for instance, if your flight is delayed or cancelled, it's very important for the airline to know it the next time you fly with it, so that they can give you some form of advantage or apology and smoothen a bit your experience. So we return some metrics, such as your value, your disruption score, your preferred services, and so on. And we export those data to lots of different touchpoints in order to improve the servicing, the offers that are proposed to the traveler, so targeted advertisement or discounts on some on your preferred services and so on. Analytics to let the airline explore the set of travelers that it has. And also to the call center, so that when you call the call center of the airline, the call center has a chance of knowing a bit your history more easily and be able to service you better without having to ask you all your reservation numbers for the last year, which would be very painful both for you and for them. But of course, as you can see, this is a very database-intensive application. We have lots of feeds. We are talking of hundreds of TPS transactions per second of writes only, and thousands of reads in order to be able to recognize people and store all the incoming information, which is really massive as well. It's not as massive as well as the flows that Gilles presented before, but it's still a very intensive application. And we used to be implemented on a standard RDBMS system with a single node implementation. I won't give a name, but I think you know the kind of system I'm talking about. And clearly we were reaching the limits. And the problem is that on this kind of system, every time we implemented a new customer, a new airline, we had the risk of overloading the database and crashing all our other customers. So of course, we could create several databases, but then you have a cost that is linear to the number of customers, which is not very nice for marketing people. And also, just for one airline, for the very big airlines, which are interested by our product usually, only one airline was just too big to be handled by such a database. And when we tried to implement them, we saw that the database would explode very quickly. Basically, after 1 year of data, we were already taking 300 milliseconds to identify a traveler. And by extrapolating to 5 years of history, which is what we are supposed to store, we ended up computing that it would take at least 1.5 seconds to just identify one traveler. And remember, we have 300 TPS of writes. So if you have 300 TPS taking each 1.5 seconds, it just doesn't fly. So we migrated to Couchbase. And the first reason why we did it is because it scales. So unlike the previous system, which was implemented on only a single node, with Couchbase, you have linear scaling. So it means that when your application is talking to the database, it can talk to several nodes, several machines, several computers, as many as 100 if you want. And the load is distributed evenly among those nodes. So this was a key enabler for us, especially for our large airlines. On top of that, Couchbase happens to be a document store. It's not at all a column row RDBMS, so you don't have to normalize all the data. And remember that in our case, everything is denormalized. So we have several emails, several phones, several names for each person, in fact. So when we had to represent this in an RDBMS, we had to denormalize everything, create specific tables to store all the different ways to identify the people, create indexes on each of them. And it was really a big mess. It was very hard to extend the model. Whereas in Couchbase, since it's a document store, we can store the full document in one shot and index any array of data inside the document, which makes our lives a lot easier. We just have to store, create the index that we want, and we are ready to use it. It's much easier for developers. On top of that, Couchbase provides automatic replication for data and for indexes. And it's quite smart because it's also FireCell, it knows the FireCell, so it makes sure that all the data are replicated across FireCells. Actually, it's a development that was done for Amadeus by Couchbase. For Gilles, actually, not for me. It was before I started to use Couchbase. Thank you, Gilles. But it's very convenient because it makes sure that even if we lose a full FireCell in our data center, our application is still able to continue working and can still fetch the data and the indexes on the backup nodes. So this is really, really nice. I mentioned it on the document store. Couchbase provides Nyquel, which is a specific language, which is much more expressive than SQL, the standard database language that you might know. Nyquel is much more powerful and it supports not only columns, but also arrays, hierarchical queries, JSON objects. You can do anything you want in Nyquel. It's really, really powerful to query your documents. And we are using it a lot, as you will see later. Of course, as Gilles explained, Couchbase is also a top-notch key-value store, and we are using it also as a key-value store for some use cases, because it's so performant that there is no reason not to benefit from it. And we are not doing only Nyquel, we are also doing a lot of key-value. And of course, as Gilles mentioned, you have also the cloud readiness of Couchbase, the fact that it's Kubernetes ready, the cross-data center replication, it provides automated backups, and it also provides a nice admin UI where you can easily investigate the performances of your queries, you can explore your database, quickly look at the indexes which are defined or not, etc. So it's really a full-fledged system, which is working quite well for us. In terms of architecture, as you can see on this slide, we have 12 nodes per cluster, and we have 3 clusters today. In each cluster, we have 6 nodes for data and 6 for indexes and queries. This allows us to spread the load and make sure that the common resources, such as disk or RAM, are not in conflict between the data services and the index services of Couchbase. This is the reason why we chose this deployment system, and as far as we can say, it's working well for us. For each piece of data or index, we have 2 replicas on top of the master source. So this allows us to lose up to 2 FireCells before we have a functional impact, which is never going to happen, hopefully. And also, in order to make sure that we don't mix up the data of our different airlines, we isolate each airline in a given bucket. So Couchbase has a notion of bucket, which is a logical segregation of the data, a bit like Oracle schemas or database schemas on a standard SQL database. And here, buckets can be used for lots of different things, and what we use them for is to segregate the data per customer. So at least when we connect to a bucket, we know that only this airline is reachable, and we don't mix up the data between airlines, because this would not be allowed, of course. Each airline owns its own data, and they don't want to mix with other airlines. That's obvious. And as you can see, we have quite some traffic. So in reads, we have thousands of reads on each of the node. And for indexes and writes as well, we have so less, but clearly hundreds of writes in total. And as you can see, the CPU is quite happy. We are usually below 5% of CPU on all our nodes, which is quite safe for us. So we are very happy with the scalability and performances we get with Codebase. So in case you are wondering, here is a typical query that we run on Couchbase. So I won't go through the details of it, because as you can see, it's very complex. This is only one query. Basically, it's a query to try and identify a person based on their emails, their phone number, and their names. Just an example, there are lots of different combinations that we can think of. And as you can see, we are using some array indexes. This is the any keyword. We are using indexes on transformations of the data, like the reverse of the phone number, because usually the last digits of the phone number are the most important ones, because you can have a country code, you can have shorter or longer phone codes, especially in the US, for instance, but not only. So usually reversing the phone number makes a lot of sense, because the last numbers become first, and therefore what you index is the most important digits. So this is what we do, and we can directly index the reverse phone number, and we can query directly the reverse phone number as well. So this is quite powerful. Again, it means that the developers don't have to store two versions of the phone number, the original one and the reversed one. Instead, we can directly put the reverse keyword inside the queries, and the problem is fixed. We are using concatenations of fields as well, and indexes on them for the names. And as you can see, it supports everything you expect from a standard SQL, like group by, order by. And on top of that, it also joins on keys, which is very nice, because it means that you can benefit from the very performant key value storage inside your NiQuel queries. So the summary is that we are reusing NiQuel a lot, and in very extreme cases. And the good news is that it works. For info, we are running this kind of query on buckets which are between 100 GB and 2 TB. So it's quite a massive amount of data already. And again, we are calling these queries at more than 300 TPS times per second. So we are not really nice with Couchbase, to say the things simply. In order to provide some monitoring and alerting, we are using the standard Prometheus stack. So we deployed it inside Amadeus. We have a Couchbase exporter, which exports to Prometheus, which exports some nice Grafana dashboards. You have already seen some of them. And we are able to trigger some alerts via the Prometheus facilities. And those alerts can trigger on-call phones, emails, chats, etc. So this is how we monitor automatically our clusters. And we are sure that whenever we have an issue, we are notified, and we know before the customers that there is an issue. We also use backups, because as you can imagine, those data are quite sensitive for the airlines. So hopefully we will never lose them, but you never know. The main use case for having backups is typically if we load corrupted software, and for some reason we corrupt the full database, and we have no way to recover it, then the easiest thing is to take a backup and restore it. So you can sleep well. It never happened yet in several years of the product, but crossing fingers. We are covered in case it happens someday. So in fact, Couchbase provides several ways to do backup. So you can backup the full database into a file. Or you can also do diff backup, which means that it will only backup the changes since the last backup. And this is really nice, given the high number of data we have in the database. As I said, we store up to 5 years of history for our customers. So as you can imagine, if you do backups every 30 minutes and you have to backup 5 years of history every time, it's a waste of time, of CPU, of disk, of network, of everything. So instead, being able to do a diff backup so that you backup only the last 30 minutes is very nice, and we use it extensively. Basically, we do a full backup once a week, and between two full backups, we do partial backups every 30 minutes. And this ensures that we can go back in time at any point in time for the last 2 weeks, or even, I think, for the last month, with a granularity of 30 minutes at a very low cost in terms of CPU, disk, and network. So this is a very good thing, and we use it a lot, even though, again, we have never had to restore any backup, but at least we know we are covered in case of catastrophe. That being said, to be honest, there were a few hiccups along the way. It's fairly new technology, especially NIQWEL. NIQWEL is only a few years old, so it's not surprising that we had a few surprises. And of course, as you saw, we are using it in a very extreme fashion. So we encountered some problems, so performance issues. We discovered a few things, like covering indexes on large documents, which is not a good idea. We discovered it a bit late, but we fix it now. Use prepared queries. It's just like any database. If you prepare your queries, it gains a lot of time. Try to minimize the fetches in order to alleviate the work on the data nodes. We also encountered a few bugs, because again, it's a recent technology, so it's not surprising that not everything was smooth, especially in the way we were using it. But the good news is that we got an excellent support from the Couchbase teams. Every time we encountered a problem, they were able to come up with a clear explanation of why it was occurring, what we should do to avoid it, provide some workarounds, and in most cases, they also provide fixes in upcoming versions, and the versions are coming very quickly. You have one new version every trimester, approximately. So it goes very fast, and we are able to integrate the latest fixes on a regular fashion, which makes sure that we are always up to date and we benefit from the latest improvements from Couchbase. So it was really a very good support. We worked hand in hand with the Couchbase from day one of the project. In fact, we are one of the biggest users of NIQWEL in the world, and we got an excellent support from Couchbase in order to investigate our issues and improve on whatever needed to be improved. So we are very happy with it, and very quickly, in fact, we managed to stabilize our stack. So it took only a few months to go from nothing to production readiness, which is quite amazing for such a new technology, which we didn't know before. And we had to revamp all our software in order to benefit from it. And in just a few months, we managed to do it. So it's quite impressive. And in terms of stability and performance, it was quite impressive as well. We got 100% availability over 1 year, and it's still running, so and counting. And in terms of performances, it's night and day compared to what we have before. Basically, those are HDR graphs, so it gives you the response time per percentile. So basically what it tells you at the top is that in our previous implementation using a standard RDBMS, in 99.9% of the cases, we were responding in less than 4 seconds. Now on Couchbase, in 99.9% of the cases, we respond in under 300 milliseconds. So more than 10 times faster at the 99.9 percentile, which is quite amazing. In fact, if you dig a bit, you see that the average response time on Couchbase corresponds to the 90th percentile on the previous database. So it's really amazing. To be honest, when the developers extracted those data, initially they thought it was a problem of measurement because it's really night and day, and the performances in Couchbase are really much more stable. As you can see, the graph is really flat up to the 99th percentile, which is quite amazing. And it's seen in the real, in the application itself. Those are the timings to identify travelers in different airlines. So I couldn't put the names of the airlines on the graph. The 3 big ones are the percentiles for the airlines implemented on the RDBMS stack. And all the small red blocks are the same values for the airlines implemented on Couchbase. As you can see, whether you look at the average time, the 90th percentile, or the 99th percentile, everything says the same. Couchbase is just a lot faster than what we had before. So it means that when we were taking minutes to process a reservation, now we take only seconds, which means that we can react much faster to new events and, for instance, send notifications to travelers in seconds instead of sending the notifications in minutes, which can make a big difference in terms of business. Voilà, I hope that you managed to follow what we were saying and that you will enjoy using Couchbase as well. We highly recommend it, both for the key value storage and for the NiQL stack. Both are really, really amazing and really performant. So have fun with Couchbase.
Thank you, Xavier. And thank you all for your attention. I hope you enjoyed this talk. Goodbye.
Bye.